Hey, how's it going everyone? In this video, we're going to finalize everything by running a test in Jenkins. First off, we will push our changes to GitHub and then we will set up a job in Jenkins. Make sure to stick till the end as we will also be integrating Jenkins with the JUnit reporter to see all of our test results. So before we get started, make sure to give this video a big like as that's how I know you guys are really enjoying my content, and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already for more content like this. So let's get started. So I'm here in PyCharm. And the first thing we have to do is make sure that we have all the dependencies that we need. So we're going to store all the dependencies that we have installed so far in our virtual environment in a new file, and we're going to name that one requirements.txt. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do pip freeze, and then I would name my file requirements.txt. So this will take all the dependencies that we have installed and it will put it in the requirements.txt file. So let me hit enter here. Alright, as you can see, it created a new file called requirements.txt, and if I open that up, you can see that it has all the dependencies that we have installed in this project. So now that we have all our dependencies, what we're going to do is take our entire project and push that to GitHub. And from there, we're going to set up a new job in Jenkins and then point it to the GitHub project that we have created. So let's do that. So I'm going to head over to my GitHub. So over here, I'm going to create a new repository and I'm going to name this one Selenium Base, and I can call this one test. So I will add in the description and stuff later on. For now, I'm just going to create a new repository. Alright, so I've pushed all of our changes to GitHub and I have this new repository created over here, which is Selenium Base Test. And here I have also created a new file called gitignore, and I just added the virtual environment asset and stuff basically that I don't need to push. I also ended up pushing the custom screenshot. We technically don't need to put that, so we can also put that in a gitignore, but I'm going to leave this one for now as it is. Now let's head over to Jenkins and set up our new project. So I already have Jenkins pulled up over here and it's running in localhost 8080. And I'm going to add a link in the description below so that you can go ahead and set up your Jenkins and so that you can get it running on localhost 8080. So once you have Jenkins set up, just simply log in. So I'm going to log in with my credentials here and do sign in. This will, for you, most likely it will show all the projects that you have here. If you don't really have anything, it might probably show just empty. In my case, I have some other projects that I've already created. So that's what it's showing up over here. So now what I will do is just create a new project, or basically new job. So I'll click on new item. Here I'm going to name my job. So I will name this one, let's say Selenium Base. And then I'm going to click on freestyle project and then do OK. So here now we have to configure a job. The first thing we're going to do is point it to our Git project. So I'm going to say this is going to be Git and the repository URL. So I'm just going to copy that from here. So this is my repository URL. We'll paste it here. I'm also going to select my credentials. Now in your case, if you don't really see anything over here, you can just add in your credentials. Just go to add Jenkins and then add in a username and password. So once that is done, you can point it over here. So I've already added my repository here as well as my credentials. So that's all we need to do in terms of setting up our source code management with Jenkins. So here, the branches I'm going to be building is master, so that is fine. I'm going to scroll down. The next thing we're going to do is add in a build step. In my build step, you can see I have this custom Python builder over here. So I'm going to select that. So you might not see this. The reason for that is you're going to have to install a custom plugin called Shining Panda as part of your Jenkins setup. What I'm going to do is just go to dashboard. And here in manage Jenkins, you're going to have options for manage plugins. Just go over there. And in your available option, you're going to see Shining Panda. So just search for Shining Panda over here. In my case, I've already installed this. So it's going to show up in my installed. Go over there and just search for Shining Panda. There you go. So this is the plugin that you need to install. So once this is installed, it will give you the Python support to be able to run your Python projects. So it's going to have your standard Python builder, a virtual environment builder, and these are all of the things we need to be able to run our Python project. So make sure to install this. You might need to restart Jenkins to get this fully configured. So once this is installed, you can proceed with the next steps. So in your build, you're going to see the custom Python builder option. In your home parameter, you need to pass in where the Python is installed in your machine. So if you want to find the path of where the Python is installed, you can pull up a terminal and here you can just search for where Python. And if it is configured properly, it will show it up over here. So here in my case, I can see it's right here. I'm just going to copy that and paste that over here. And then we're going to be using a shell over here so that it's fine. And then we're going to add in a commands of what exactly we need for this project. So in our case, the first thing we need to do is create our virtual environment. So I'm going to do Python, I'm going to do -m, venv, and then I'm going to name my virtual environment just env. And then we have to activate our virtual environment. So to activate it, I'm going to do call, and then do .env, and then in our scripts, then do activate.bat. What this will do is it will create my virtual environment and then it will activate it. So once my virtual environment is activated, I can go ahead and install all the dependencies. For that, I will do pip install and then do -r requirements.txt. So here I'm going in and installing all the dependencies that we have set up in our requirements.txt file. So once all the requirements are installed, technically Selenium base should also be installed as part of this project. So then we can use the Selenium base command. So I'm going to do sbase install and then install Chrome driver so that it will run the test on my Chrome driver. And I will pass in latest so that it's picking up the latest version. So finally, when all of that is done, we can start running a test. So the way I'm going to run a test is just by doing pytest. And also I'm going to pass in the headless flag so that it runs on headless mode. All right, so that's all we need to do in terms of setting up our project. So here what I did is we've created our virtual environment, we have activated our virtual environment, and I've installed all the dependencies, and then I've also installed Chrome driver, and then we are running our test in a headless mode. So let's save this and then try to run a test and see if it works. Okay, so I've saved all of the changes. Now what we will do is click on the build now button to actually build our project. Let me click on this, and what this will do is trigger a new build here, as you can see. So I'm going to open that up. So here it's trying to clone all of my changes that we have in our repository. It's going to clone that locally over here. And now as you can see, it's trying to build a new virtual environment. So I'm just going to wait for all of this to finish. And once this is finished, we're going to review our results. All right, so our build finished running. And as you can see, the status over here, it says it's failure. And that is okay because we had some tests that were failing. So that's as expected. But if we scroll up, we can see all the test reports over here. So here I can see all the tests that ran. So it totally ran the 7 items. So basically it ran our cart file, contact file, home, shop, and upload files. So these are all the files that we had in our project. So it ran all of them. And then we can also see the log. So it's saying that, okay, here that there's the error message. It was expecting to be a different text. Instead, it got this one. And these are all the error messages that we were getting when we were running our test in PyCharm as well. So if I go back to Selenium based project, so over here, we can see a build result. So it says failed over here. So that's okay. Now what we're going to do is, right now, we don't really have a way to see any kind of reports. So what we want to be able to do is, instead of just going in here and taking a look at the console logs, we want it to be able to show us the reports right over here. So for that, with Jenkins, the most common reports that works is the JUnit report. So let's implement that with our Jenkins job over here. So I'm going to go back to configure. I'm going to go all the way down. So right here, we have the option to do post build actions over here. So I'm going to click on post build actions. And here I have an option to pick the report that I want. So in my case, I want the JUnit report. So I'm going to pick that one. So which is this published JUnit test result report. So I will click on that. Now keep in mind that if you do not see this JUnit option over there, that means you're going to have to install JUnit plugin in your Jenkins. So just the way we installed the plugin for this custom Python builder, you have to do the same thing for your JUnit too. So go to manage plugins and in the available option, just install the JUnit plugin. Once that is installed, you will be able to see this JUnit option right over here in your post build out actions. So here we need to pass in the report name. So where a report is going to be located. So in our case, a report is going to be in our root directory. So I'm just going to name this one report.xml. However, we haven't really generated this report yet. So to generate the report, we can pass the report flag over here in our pytest command. So right now we are running it headless. So what I'm going to do is add in the report flag here. So just the way we were running our HTML report, we're going to do the same thing with the JUnit too. So I'm going to do --JUnit-XML, and then I'm going to pass in where it needs to be printed out. So it's going to be report.xml. So in my root directory, it's going to create a new file called report.xml. And this is what we are passing it over here as well. So let me save this and try to run this and see if it would work and show us the JUnit report. So once again, I'm going to build my project here. And I'm going to wait for this to be completed. All right, so our build finished running. And as you can see, we have the number to build over here, which says filled over here, which is expected as well. But now if I go to this last build over here and click on that, we can see the test result right here. So it says that there are 3 failures. So those ones are expected. And if I go to test result right here, So now over here, I can see all of the tests that ran. So here are all the tests that it ran. We have a cart file, contact, homepage, shop page, and upload page. And as well as the ones that failed too. So we have all the failed tests here. We can see the ones that passed, the ones that skipped, and the total number of tests as well. Now, if I need to take a look at more details of what exactly happened for the tests that failed, I can go to, let's say, our contact page here. Now we can see that here it's actually telling me what was the error message and the stack trace of that particular error message. So here I know that at this line this failed, this was the actual error message, and this makes it really easy for me to debug my code now. So adding JUnit report actually really helps you drill down and understand what exactly is the error instead of just looking everything in your console log. So I can go back to my test results, and here I can do the same thing for the ones that passed as well. So let's say if I go there, I can see that this one passed, everything looks okay. And if I just go in there, we won't really see any log trace or anything. All it will do is just tell us that, oh, our test passed, and we're gonna see a pass over there. Right here, there you go. So let me go back. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. To quickly review, what we did was first pushed all of our changes to GitHub. Then we created a new Jenkins job, and then we have connected that Jenkins to our GitHub project. And after that, we actually built our project in Jenkins, and then finally we implemented the JUnit reporting. So if you run into any issues, guys, while setting this up, do let me know in the comments below so that I can help you out. Just one last thing, if you have been enjoying my videos, I would really appreciate it if you guys could support my work, and you can do that in a few easy ways. The easiest is you can subscribe to my channel and like and share my videos. And you can also go to automationbro.com and subscribe to my mailing list to get access to all my blog posts and the latest updates. And if you have the financial means, you can also support me via the Buy Me a Coffee website. And I will add the links for all of that in the description below. That's it for now, guys. I will see you all in the next video where I will do a quick wrap up of everything we have covered in this series.